What is going on, everybody? We are at it again with Daily Shoot, and today we have backstage news on Del Rio's alliance with Zeb Colter. Alberto Del Rio's alliance with Zeb Colter was originally Vince McMahon's idea, which I very much believe, but as it can be seen on this past episode of Monday Night Raw, it seems like WWE has decided to pull the trigger on the duo, and by pull the trigger, I mean to break them apart. The report continues to state that it is possible that the split on Raw was just a swerve for the Jack Swagger match against Del Rio at TLC, but WWE has had plans for Del Rio to be a solo act headed into 2016. Now, all of this makes a lot of sense. I think they were always going to want Del Rio to be a solo act, as said in the report. And the whole partnering up with Zeb Colter, I feel like, was just a bit when Alberto Del Rio came back to help him transition back into the WWE, especially with the WWE Universe, the fans. Because the fans of the Universe, they know Zeb Colter. Maybe they forgot about Del Rio. I hardly doubt that, but still, maybe they forgot about Del Rio and they needed someone that the fans knew. So either they could like Del Rio or they could hate him, either way they wanted to go with it in creative. All of this made sense, and you kind of knew that he was going to go solo when you saw him join the League of Nations, because Zeb Colter wasn't around and you didn't see him hanging around with Colter either. You saw him hanging around more with his frat bros in the League of Nations. And I think it's better that he's with the League of Nations than he's with Zeb Colter. Next up, WWE Network is set to launch in Japan next year. According to a publication, the network is set to launch on January 5th, 2016. The report states that the plan is to release the network in English, and WWE will decide later if it makes more sense to translate some of the content into Japanese. Now, I don't really agree that much with that ending part about how releasing it only in English first and then Japanese, translate some of the stuff later, because I get the whole when you're watching it and the commentary, it might be English with JBO and all of them, or maybe it might be Japanese commentaries and they just dub it over, because they do that a lot with the whole Spanish commentary as well. But if they don't and it's only English or Spanish commentary for the Japanese fans watching the network, then I feel like you should at least take the step forward in trying to translate some of the text on what does everything mean, because not everybody can read English, WWE. There are other countries with other languages, alright? Next up, changes to Erick Rowan's character are coming. On Twitter, Erick Rowan posted a vignette, which if you don't know what a vignette is, or vignette, whatever you want to call it, is basically a video promo. And the whole thing about it is that Erick Rowan may be parting ways with the Sheep Mask and possibly the Wyatt family, though I doubt the latter. I don't think he'll be leaving from the Wyatt family soon. I just think he'll stop using the Sheep Mask because it seems like he's the only one that still uses it. Maybe not Braun Strowman, but because he has that whole black sheep thing to him. But Erick Rowan technically is the only one still wearing that old white one. And honestly, cool, because the Sheep Mask was cool for the first year or whatever, but now we want to see more of Erick Rowan's face. We want to see him wrestle more, because him and Luke Harper are really good wrestlers, but they get overshadowed a lot by Bray Wyatt because, of course, he is the leader, and it's supposed to be this whole stable thing, the Wyatt family. Understandable, but hopefully we get to see Erick Rowan and Luke Harper show more of their singles attributes, because we did see them go single for a while, but hopefully in the stable they're able to show off their skills. And lastly, Jack Swagger talks on suffering injuries in WWE. During a recent interview, Jack Swagger was asked about the injuries of Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, and so on, all the injuries that's been happening. And he says the following: no matter how technically sound a superstar is, injuries are going to happen. The physicality is very real inside the ring, and it's part of the sport. It just reinforces the fact that we need a great medical squad so we can actively take care of our bodies and prevent pain becoming actual injuries or much worse. For Seth Rollins, to his credit, that man is a tough one, still being able to powerbomb Kane after that. And I very much agree with everything Jack Swagger's saying. He's a very smart individual when it comes to the business. And yeah, even look at Daniel Bryan. He does do some risks, but not necessarily as much as someone like Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. Daniel Bryan is a super technical wrestler, but he still gets injured.